All right. Okay, so I just wanted to, before we go into this week's topic, just finish off a little bit of the intro from last week and just letting you know, subsequently, like we're now got a Zoom meeting set up for this course as a recurring thing. Everybody got that message. Everyone who's here got that message. There's only myself and the centre on at the moment. But I think as we're moving forward and different restrictions come in, this might be very useful. But it's so wonderful to have people here together while we can, right? So I just wanted to finish off, as I said, the intro from last week, that in general, when we talk about meditation, we sort of got two categories that broadly meditation falls into. And one is the stabilizing meditation or single-pointed concentration meditation. It's about unifying our mental energy onto one particular object of meditation and developing our ability to focus on that, concentrate on that. As we go along, we'll talk more around this. So that one, also known as calm abiding meditation, which is the literal translation of shamatha in the Sanskrit or shine in the Tibetan. So these terms are synonymous. So it's about, we're training the mind to stay fixed on one meditational objects. And the purpose of the purpose of that is to make our mind then serviceable for the next one, which is an analytical meditation. It's the nature of our mind to think. We think. That's what we use our mind for, right? That's its job. We don't want to stop it thinking. And so then we use the capacity of the mind to think to then analyze, to interrogate, to investigate different topics. And in the Buddhist teachings, these are, say, presented, and certainly in the context of this course, through all the different topics of the Lam Rim, the graduated path to enlightenment, which comes along in the next, starts to come along in the next module. You know, sort of looking at our distorted views or our distorted perceptions and so forth, our reactions that create our suffering and how we can be free of that. So the how we can be free of that is also another aspect of that analytical meditation under that whole umbrella, is purposefully cultivating the positive qualities of mind. So like suffusing our mind with love and kindness, suffusing our mind with joy, with compassion, patience, the positive qualities of mind. And so we'll be looking at that aspect more next week in terms of looking at analytical meditation, but particularly focusing on harnessing our natural innate positive energies and cultivating that more and more and more. So these are the two different general categories of meditation. So then I just wanted to put it out to folks from who, you know, participated last time or from your general meditation practice. So any questions or observations coming either from last time or from your meditation practice. I just thought if there's any, because we didn't have time for that last time. So any questions that before we get started? No. So it's all going really fantastically well then. Okay, right.
Just on behalf of everybody, how much is it worth going to a lot of trouble to be comfortable physically?
It is worth going to a lot of trouble to be comfortable physically, absolutely, because the more comfortable we are, and last time we were talking about setting this setting our posture for meditation, taking time to do that, to settle the body. We want to make it comfortable. I hope people are comfortable enough. We've turned off this aircon, but with the fans. Actually, they say from the external environment side, best that it's a bit cool, totally opposite to what we're experiencing in Perth right now. Not just a bit cool, quite cool. I think when the lamas go to New Zealand, they go, oh, this is the place to meditate. Or Tasmania, oh, I want to live there. You know. So yeah, to have a certain amount of cool, because we know what, you know, this heat does to our body, but also how that affects our mind. But yes, we want the body as comfortable as possible, also in terms of our posture. So even though there's a, you know, sort of classic outline of posture of which has a good purpose, and I think hopefully we'll get to that in today as we go along to settle into that zone of comfort in our body. We really need to emphasize that it's part of bringing ourselves into the meditation session is okay, the conducive environment's been provided, but then the environment of the body, which is not the one who meditates, it's a mind that meditates, but making that conducive, because the object is not to bear excruciating pain or discomfort or so forth, because that'll just take you away from it. And you'll think, no, I don't want to meditate. It's uncomfortable. Well, no, then that's wrong. Okay. So it's a really important factor. There's a lot of, even you know, the Buddha's instructions on the first aspect is one of relaxation and feeling well supported, feeling well grounded. Yes.
Why do I see so many colors?
Colors?
Colors. I saw all these colors.
Because they're distractions. Full stop. We see colors, we have memories, we have images, we have plans, we have lots of stuff because our mind hasn't been trained. So that's why. Okay. But that's what we're here for, training the mind and understanding how to do that. Okay, then. So we're looking at today mindfulness meditation. And mindfulness, so I just wanted to mention that, having outlined about the two different categories of meditation. So the single pointed one, the stabilizing meditation, I like to think of it that the mind is, that's when we're harnessing the energy of the mind to stay still, to focus, to develop the ability to concentrate. But to do that with a relaxed way, not in a spacious way, not by screwing up and tightening up, because that's counterproductive. So in that one, we're looking at the mind not moving. In the analytical meditation, also known as like Vipassana meditation, insight meditation, so forth, where we want the mind to, in that one, the mind moves. So that's just for my simple mind, a simple distinction between this and that. And then as you go along, further along, you combine the two. So anyway, just why I came back to that, because mindfulness meditation has both of those. So when we're talking about this quality of mindfulness, we need to get really specific about what the Buddha's presentation of mindfulness is. Because there's a lot of different definitions of mindfulness. So it's a mental factor. Those of you who did Mind and Its Potential, the previous module, it's one of our mental factors. It's a way in which we engage with whatever object, whether it be in meditation throughout the day. We need mindfulness all the time. So I don't want to knock into things and so forth as I walk about. You need to have mindfulness. So it's this mental factor that performs the function of preventing distraction or mindlessness. So it's described as a non-forgetfulness in the mind. And here it says with respect to a familiar object. So familiar is what we're familiarizing with in meditation, keeping in mind that gom is what the word for meditation in Tibetan. There's a gompa, place of meditation, is to familiarize the mind. So generally, if we think about this factor, mental factor of mindfulness. So we, as I said, you know, we need it when we go about our daily activities. We need it when we study. It has that aspect of recollection, remembering. So we study and we remember and so forth. So there's a quality of that, of remembering, of memory, of calling to mind. And we need that for that recollection. We need it, those of us who've taken vows in particular, for our ethics, moral discipline, to be mindful of, am I holding my vows? Am I, you know, breaking my vows? In other words, be careful as we're going about our daily activities with our speech, with our actions and so forth. So an aspect of recollecting that. And then in meditation, it's having this non-forgetfulness, or developing that as in meditation, so that when we, you know, have an object of meditation, that we're not going off to something else and somewhere else. We are, but to have an awareness of that. And so usually this is, we talk about coupling that with the introspection, that notices. And so we have these two, or vigilance or alertness. So we couple these two states of mind. So mindfulness is not in and of itself something, a positive quality of mind. It is a quality of mind. As Lama Zopa Rinpoche likes to remind us, even thieves need mindfulness. We all need mindfulness. So what intention we bring along with that is our own. Here we have set a very positive, you know, altruistic intention for engaging in this. And as those mental factors are presented in the Buddhist presentation of minds and mental factors, that it is presented in the aspect of, you know, this positive aspect, positive side. So then it becomes imbued with our intention. So, okay. At the very first Mind and Its Potential conference that I was previously, as many of you know, at Vajrayana Institute for many years. In 2005, the centre started putting on these international conferences. The first one of that was Mind and Its Potential, which went for some years, 2005. And Geshe Dawa, who had been previously our teacher at the centre, was presenting at that conference, and he talked about mindfulness in the sense that he said, you know, I think he had been told, he'd been given the instruction, if you want to become a Buddha, if you want to become enlightened, practice mindfulness. Now, just hearing those words, I was so excited that you know, next morning I woke up and I thought, right, I'm going to practice mindfulness. I'm going to keep my mind in the room, right? And then you notice how long it is before, even though your body's in the room, first thing in the morning, the mind's gone downstairs, making breakfast, doing everything else, you know. So this is not to beat ourselves up. It is just a quality of mind that enables us to notice that. And then because we're here interested in meditation, how do I cultivate that so that it can assist me to, well, if your aspiration is to become a Buddha, how can it assist me to develop, to refine my understanding of whatever object of meditation I turn my mind to? So through mindfulness meditation, and given we're talking about in this context, in the, you know, as the Buddha presented, you know, we use that to cultivate our awareness, to become more and more aware of our mind, of everything, of phenomena, of our feelings in terms of sensations in the body, our emotional reactions, our physical being, our mental being, and so forth, and everything else we engage with. So traditionally, this is presented in a way and was presented by the Buddha in the first turning of the wheel, or the Pali canon that was along with the Four Noble Truths, which we're most familiar with being taught there. This comes from the Pali canon, was taught in that first turning of the wheel by the Buddha, sort of how we progressively work with more and more subtle objects, right? And so this was presented as these four different aspects here, mindfulness of these different aspects, keeping in mind we can interrogate either one of those with either single point of concentration meditation or analytical meditation. So I thought for this morning that, we'll just elaborate a little bit on each and just have a taster of each, and then some. Well, I don't know if we'll do all four. So I always get ambitious and think we're going to cover the whole thing, but it doesn't always work that way. So yeah, the four close applications of mindfulness. Sometimes it's the four foundations of mindfulness, the four near. I mean, you get the drift. It's these four applications of mindfulness, and extensively practiced over, ever since the time of the Buddha. I'll just quote from the teachings on this. This is a quote from Nagasena, who's in the 2nd century Buddhist monk, and how he describes mindfulness in this context. Mindfulness, when it arises, calls to mind wholesome and unwholesome tendencies, exactly what it says here, our mental and emotional reactions, with faults and faultless, inferior, refined, dark, pure, together with their counterparts, which means antidotes. Mindfulness, when it arises, follows the course of beneficial and unbeneficial tendencies. These tendencies are beneficial, these ones are not. So we are able to distinguish, this is helpful to me, this is not helpful. So that's what we want to distinguish, isn't it? Thus, one who practices rejects the unbeneficial tendencies and cultivates the beneficial. So at the time of the Buddha, there was a monk, a fellow seeker after truth, who he realized through the practices he was doing, he wasn't going to attain this liberation he was seeking. So he went to the Buddha to get advice for his practice. And the Buddha gave a very sort of simple, succinct advice, which really embodies everything about what mindfulness is about. And so the Buddha gave this instruction for his meditation practice. In the seen, there's only the seen. In the heard, there's only the heard. In the felt, there's only the felt. And in the cognized, known by mind, there is only the cognized. So it's this sort of noticing that our minds tend to elaborate on top of what is there, what isn't there, and really getting just at what is, just as what is. That's what we're attending to do. So as the Buddha said, that's how to train yourself, okay? All right. So let's look at how we progressively develop these. We have these 4 points: mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of the mind, and mindfulness of the nature of things, or Dharma. So keeping in mind, this is, getting more and more subtle, more and more subtle, more and more subtle. So mindfulness of the body, there's a whole elaborate, huge body of meditations about mindfulness of the body. It covers a lot of different aspects. So the first aspect that's addressed, and we'll just do a taster of that this morning, is mindfulness of breath in the body. So those of you, maybe some of you were here for the meditation session earlier. Every meditation session, we're going to the 8th point, you know, we have this 7-point Varachana, setting the body posture, and then the 8th point is focus on the breath, regardless of what is going to be subsequently our topic of meditation. But here it becomes the topic of meditation when we're focusing on that. And when we focus on the breath, no, I'll come back to that. I'll just say that in brief at this point. So another aspect is we look at the body as a whole. And so, you know, we draw our awareness to the body, the whole, sensations and so forth, which also comes up when we're looking at feelings, but just the mere sensation. Or we look at it in terms of the elements that make up the body and the internal elements and how they relate to the external elements. And that becomes very analytical meditation. So we'll be looking at that in a few weeks' time. Yeah, so it can, you know, as I said, there's a vast array of things here. So when we focus on the breath, we focus on the breath in the whole of the body. We focus on the whole of the breath, moment by moment by moment, you know, arising moment by moment, you know, and then we focus on the coming and going of the breath, the arising and the disintegration of the breath. We focus on the quality of the breath. We're aware of whether it's smooth, whether it's rough, and then, of course, as soon as our mind turns to something, we want to control it. Delete that. That's not what it's about. It's not about controlling our breath. Our breath is fine. I've looked around the room. I've checked. Everyone's alive. Your body knows how to breathe, right? Your body does know how to breathe. So it's not about, oh, I've got to make some fine tuning to my breath. Not at all. You do not have to fine tune anything. Perfect as it is, right? It's merely giving our mind a thing to focus on that is easy for us to focus on. It's easy for us to focus on the breath. I've never had someone say, what do you mean the breath? Nobody has ever said, I don't know what you're talking about. So most of the time we're going about our daily activities, and unless we've got some problems, you know, with our chest or, you know, and so forth, then the breathing just chugs along and does its thing, isn't it? I mean, maybe we notice it more now we've got our mask because it gets all hot and bothered under there, so we really notice it. But generally we don't. It's a physiological function of the body. But while it is a physiological function of the body, at the same time, it's very finely tuned to our emotions, isn't it? So if we get a fright, what happens? Or if we, you know, get agitated, we might have a sort of excited, shallow breath or so forth. So we can see how our emotions can affect that physiology of our breathing, but vice versa. So like that. So even though one of the instructions from the Buddha is, you know, when the meditator focusing on the breath calms the mind. And it is a natural quality of, if you focus on breath, you don't have to sit there calm, calm, calm. Although I used to love, anyone ever have the Little Book of Calm? It was, actually, well, it was one of our presenters at our conference too. It was an Australian guy. Had this, anyway, I think it was in the 80s, maybe, Little Books of Calm. And we don't need a mantra that says calm, calm, calm. By focusing on the breath, it naturally, as you settle into the body, as you settle onto the breath, it has a calming effect on the mind. Right? So that happens naturally. The breath is a really wonderful object of meditation because we can get more and more refined, more and more subtle as you go on and meditate, most objects of meditation, when you focus on them in meditation, they get more and more clarity, high definition, and so forth. But with breath, as you focus on it, and were you to, maybe not in a daily practice, but if you were to do long meditation retreat on the breath, it would get so subtle that the mind has to settle more and more to be able to notice those sensations, right? It gets subtler and subtler and subtler. In fact, I don't know if this story is true, but I'll tell you anyway. I got told in a teaching. So there was one meditator, serious meditator, and there he was on his bed meditating. And then his wife was concerned because he hadn't come for dinner and hadn't come for this and hadn't come for that. So she goes in to check out and she checks. She can't feel any breath, you know. She thinks, oh, he's dead. He's sitting here in meditation posture, dead. And so she calls the ambulance and he goes to hospital and he goes, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, but I was just thinking about, you know, the guy, sorry, that might be disrespectful, who's in Nepal, the Buddha boy. Do people hear about the Buddha boy? And so he was meditating. He was like about 19 years old, and he just spent all his time in meditation. And then people were coming by, he became in headlines, and then people were coming by. This was in the last 10 years. And coming by and, you know, wanting to, it became a tourist attraction. So then they put a fence up around him, and still he got, you know, people were, somebody came and offered food and water and so forth, so that he was okay. But they'd also come and check his breath. You know, is he breathing? Can we feel breath? Anyway, apparently in the end he went off into the jungles and thought, no, it's too distracted being here. I'm going to go further, which is why we have a whole forest tradition of, you know, serious meditators. Okay. So this mindfulness of breath can take us a long way, and talks about developing clear comprehension. It is the mind, you know, nature of the mind, this sort of clarity. I prefer the term sort of spaciousness, you know, getting, you know, having that sort of spaciousness as we attend to the breath. And then, or whatever object of meditation, the spacious clarity of the mind, it's the nature of our mind, this sort of, to cultivate more and more clarity. And okay, so I've noticed, I mentioned a couple of things there, so I'll just mention, put that in a simple little package. So we focus on the breath in the whole of the body. Generally, it's this first aspect of relaxation, that first of all, we need to come to some sort of state of balance and unwinding and unraveling all of, you know, everything else that's going on, discombobulation or whatever. So to come to a state of relaxation, but with purpose, with intention of meditation. So generally when we're focused on the breath, it's in the whole of the body to do that. And then with, we cultivate a sense of stability, continuity of attention. So we'll look at the different levels of that in a few weeks' time. There's a whole presentation on that in relation to calm abiding meditation, but getting a sense of stability so that we're able to continuously stay on that object, so that we're staying on the object, say, so usually the advice is to focus on in your abdomen, you know, the breath in your abdomen. Why? Because it's anchoring you down further in your body, feeling well grounded, well supported, right? And then our body can relax. It can sort of feel at comfort, and then the mind can settle more and more. And then having continuity, and we're training our mind to stay continuously moment by moment, by moment, by moment, by moment, every moment of breath arising, every moment of breath, the sensations of the breath in the depths of the abdomen and on the surface as a sort of rise and fall. I ever remember when I first went on a meditation retreat on shamatha, and when it was the instruction on the abdomen, I was just like, but there's a lot going on there. Which bit do I focus on? There's a lot happening in there. And after a while, your mind just sort of settles down. You can see my mind was quite agitated and so forth. So that could well be our experience, particularly when we're beginning out in meditation. Absolutely can well be our experience, and think, yeah, there wasn't any continuity. I was sort of jumping all over the place, but little by little, time by time, we focus that to have that continuity of attention. So each moment of the breath, and then the clarity, we place our attention. Traditionally, it says at the sort of triangle underneath your nostrils here. And we use this mindfulness. The mindfulness is used as an analogy of a guard or watch person, trying to be not gender specific. Just sort of guarding our attention here at the opening of the nostrils and observing the comings and goings of the breath. And this indeed is where the main game is in terms of developing clarity, developing more and more subtle awareness and so forth, really extending our practice. But often the instruction that the Buddha gave was here. I mean, gave all those instructions, don't get me wrong, but to focus here. So often I remember one retreat I was on, and there was another nun there who asked the question of the teacher and saying, you know, I went or talked about her experience. She'd been on a 3-month, she'd been doing this practice, focusing on the breath, but following the Burmese tradition, and you start here, right? And she said, I had a migraine every day. And I'm like, in my mind thinking, well, I rejoice that you persisted. I would have given up day one. It's not about having migraines. So we do have to have our body attuned, you know, in a state conducive to meditation. And so with these 3 different aspects, then we allow our mind to settle. We can spend, you know, weeks, months on the relaxation. We can spend, you know, we can take each aspect and focus on that. But I thought, just so we get a little taster, we can do, what I'll do is, we'll do that as our close application of mindfulness to the body, using that focus on the breath. And we'll just touch on each of those, and then we can have some discussion about the difference of, if any, whatever difference, whatever your experience. And as we go along, it's really beneficial if people keep a meditation journal. Here, it's good to like have a little taster meditation. It won't be too long. Well, I'm not quite sure how long it'll be, but I'll keep it short. And then reflect with each other, which becomes like your living meditation journal, so that immediately. And the reflection is about our experience. It's not psychoanalyzing ourselves or any other analyzing, I quit the shoulds, no judgment, no criticism, just, oh, well, what I observed was this and what I observed was that. And so what your experience is in the meditation. So then you do that over a period of time and you'll start to see some familiar patterns. And if you keep it going over a longer period of time, then you see the transformation. Then you see the change, the progress, and so forth. Okay. All right. So let's just do some setting yourself in the posture, reflecting. Those of you here last time, we had that 7-point Varachana posture. The main thing of which is feeling, you know, settling into your body, feeling well supported, well grounded, feeling safe. So we can think about being well supported by the cushion. If you're those of you in chairs, feel that your feet are firmly planted on the cushion or the floor, if you can reach the floor, those who can, so that you feel that powerful support. And those of you on cushions, if you want to put cushions under your knees to feel well supported, it's really important to feel good foundation of support. Then your body can just, allow itself to be more at ease, which is what we want, more comfortable, more spacious. And then having your spine long and straight, which is what helps with concentration. So all the vertebrae stacked up on top of each other, back of your neck long and so forth. And then your chin will be naturally, if the back of your neck's long, your chin will be naturally down slightly towards your chest. Just let your eyes be in whatever aspect you want, open, closed. But with a soft focus, particularly if they're open. Last week I was mentioning it's good to get some light in, but it's amazing how you don't have to open your eyes very much and still have light in, because we've got quite a bit of light here. Sometimes people think, oh, you've got to have dim light for meditation, but I think it just makes it harder because it gets murkier, So we use whatever we can in the external environment to assist us. And then just having your shoulders relax, your arms relax. There is a formal posture, but just relax, relax, relax. And settling so your body does feel balanced, feels in a state of comfort and ease. Be aware of the contact of your body with the seat, with the cushion, the air on your skin. And just settle it. It's like you're sort of settling in the zone, preparing for meditation. And settling your mind inwards in the space of the body. So withdrawing from all the sensory engagements around us, dwelling in the space of the body. It's really delicious when we bring body and mind together in the one moment. And that's the other aspect of focusing on the breath. It brings our attention into the present moment. It's the only way. We can't breathe ahead or behind. Settling into this moment, which is any moment of the meditation, is this moment. And inviting your awareness, spacious clarity of your mind to really just settle on awareness of the breath in your body, in the whole of your body, wherever you notice the sensations of breath, rest there. Simply aware with a sort of spacious, open awareness, not let our face be soft, everything relaxed, shoulders relaxed, everything relaxed, soft, easy, gentle, guiding your awareness to simply whatever sensations of breath you experience. Imbuing that experience with a sense of relaxation, letting the body come to a state of balance, unwinding, particularly with the breath out, release, relax more and more. Melting away any tension, tightness anywhere. And then with the breath in, refreshing your attention on the breath. As the Buddha said, we balance between this relaxation and alertness, not squeezing the mind, finding a middle way, our own sense of balance in between. And shifting your awareness to hone in on the sensations of the breath in your abdomen. So being, deep, putting your awareness, shining that light of awareness deep down in the body, whatever natural rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath in and out. The sensations of the breath in your abdomen, any changing pressure you notice on your clothes or on the seat. Simply attending as much as you can to the rise of the breath moment by moment. Realize every moment, savor each moment, feel the space of each moment of the breath in as it arises, just in its natural rhythm. There might be then the turnaround to the breath out, all the way to the very end, a stillness in between. And the next breath just naturally comes in. The body knows how to breathe itself. It does it naturally. We don't have to take a breath. See if you can stay with each moment of arising, each moment of the turnaround, each moment of the exhalation of the breath, all the way to the very end, the dissolving of the breath at the very end, in the stillness, and then the next breath arising. Your experience is valid. It doesn't have to be anything else other than it is. Simply noting. Applying from time to time is mindfulness, to be aware of the breath. When our mind gets distracted, no judgment, no criticism. We've got our trainer wheels on. Just notice, refresh our attention on the breath, just to sort of dissolve with the breath out, whatever has distracted us away, be it sounds outside, inside, or thoughts or whatever. Dissolve, dissolve, dissolve into the breath out. Release, relax, let go. Refresh your attention on the breath. And then we'll try for a short time, refining our attention even further to observe the breath at the opening of the nostrils. Just as the breath is, the volume of the breath, Maybe you notice the warmer air as you breathe out, the cooler air as you breathe in. You're not following the breath in and out. You're just staying focused at the base of the nostrils and being, discerning the breath from anything else you could put your mind on. Okay, I'm focusing on the breath, and then I'm focusing on the in-breath, and I'm focusing on the out-breath. And then you can even observe, is the breath short? Is the breath long? Just can only be short or long in relation to each other. It's not, you've got to change your breath. Just noticing, whatever you notice, the quality of your breath. Is it smooth, even throughout? Is there more at the beginning, more at the middle, more at the end? Whatever you wish to notice, just notice the sensations of breath, the quality of the breath, the experience of the breath just at the opening of the nostrils, flaring sensations, flaring of the nostrils or tickling sensations, whatever it is, just notice. Check up from time to time that you're not furrowing the brow to concentrate, because this is more subtle sensations of the breath. Everything's soft, relaxed, open, spacious body, spacious mind. And simply release your awareness into that spacious clarity of the mind, a state of balance, equilibrium, without doing anything at all, just resting, just resting. And when you're ready, open your eyes and just adjust to the light and sights around you, keeping whatever aspect of stillness, awareness, mindfulness you have cultivated in this meditation, so it doesn't just sort of fly out the window, holding that in mind. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just sort of pair up with a couple of people, 3, 4, together into a group, and just maybe share some observations. What did I notice in that meditation? So this is our living journal of our meditation experience. Just whatever arose in that particular meditation that, really, just share your experience like that for a few minutes, and you might see some commonality. You might see the differences. Where, and any moment of our meditation practice, we see lots of differences. Depends on so many factors. Okay. And of course, those of you who haven't met each other, introduce yourself first, right?
I don't know, I just had to try I tried not to, because I just find it's very where I write very light, and I find it hard to actually, I like trying to close down. I just say sitting up straight and then try that
something that you were touching on that. And I think it's one of the side effects of observation generally. That as soon as you turn the mind to the breath, you're in some kind of like fear, right? Just want to, watch it, so to speak. Just that the act of observation does bring a lot of experience. So, to me, I don't know where to go to just pass over and still be conscious of the breath and where and not be in the concentration so much. Yeah, because I realize that the other thing for me is and my neighbors fall asleep as well. It's one of the things that the practice you become more skillful at being able to concentration.
Okay, so maybe just another minute or so is okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things you do. Yeah.
Okay, so let's regroup, and I'll just, if some and just, it seemed to be like we had one group here, one group here, one group here, one group here. So starting over this side, was there anything that you wanted to just raise up generally or comment on, anyone within the group?
We had some
No.
sleepers at the front here.
You had some
Sleepers.
sleepers.
Not to sleep. There was a
Okay, if your body needs to sleep, it needs to sleep. This is part of the relaxation, the unwinding and so forth. And yeah, so.
Yeah, and I was saying that for me, when I find that I am a little bit drifting in sleep, make sure that my eyes are.
Yeah, using it. So applying some tips to that so that your eyes are a bit open, so you're getting some light in, because it is that fact that we close our eyes and the body goes, oh, good, time to sleep. In fact, even people go off and do meditation retreats and so forth. Sometimes the first few days, could be even longer, depending how long the retreat is. You just sort of get to, you're getting towards the end of the retreat and you're feeling, oh, now I'm ready for that retreat. Because it's that process, we need it, that process of unwinding and so forth. Of course, as a regular practice, we don't want to keep building a habit of that. So we do want to apply some interventions to notice that. I would suggest maybe you weren't sleeping, at least nobody was snoring, but maybe the dullness of the mind. I mean, maybe you were sleeping, I don't know, but the dullness of the mind, which is a big factor. We'll look at the hindrances in coming weeks. Yeah. So
It's almost like we had
chalk and cheese experiences. Yeah.
I found that the volume of my consciousness receiving, and I've got my eyes open, going in my mind consciousness.
There's too much going in.
There's too much coming in.
Exactly.
So I can't have my eyes open. But in saying that, I'm still very aware of the lightness of the work.
Yeah.
So even with my eyes closed, my
Yes.
sense consciousness.
So you had a sense of lightness. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going in all the time, 24/7, and we're not aware of it generally, all this. So that awareness is great. Oh, I'd never realized. Someone who came along to meditation for the first time one time, she said, at the end of the meditation, she said, I never knew I had so many thoughts. Good. Now you know. That's the thing. It's all an investigation. It's all our own individual experience. So it's good to know, okay, I'm not at, it's usually, as you get, there are some practices way advanced where it says, for this one, have your eyes open. And you're like, no, I don't want my eyes open. Too much distraction as it is. Yeah. So we just note where we're at, and we see over time, has the obsession with that gone? The fixation with that gone? Because then it means our minds become more relaxed about it. So this is the thing, we want to cultivate that sort of, being relaxed about it. Okay. Thank you. Down the back, did anyone want to raise it? It's not obligatory, but if you wanted to mention anything.
Georgia, myself, we noticed in the abdomen, and a little bit of difference.
In what way different in the abdomen? Oh, between when you're focusing on the whole or focusing here? Yeah. What did you notice as differences in the abdomen?
Just how it's sort of sat in the body. So, when you're speaking about before, grounded.
Yes, being grounded. You felt that experience. Fantastic. Wonderful. And was that similar experience, Georgie? Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, it's really grounding, and it's very, it's really, because most of the time our energy's up here, just we think of thinking and we think it all happens up here. And so our energy goes up here. And just generally in life, I think with more and more grounding, more and more. There's a whole, I don't know, you have it here in WA, but I heard about it in the eastern states. It's called an earthing movement. Particularly, I think somewhere like Sydney, it's very popular because people could realize they can spend their whole day not touching the ground, not touching the earth. And so you go out deliberately for at least half an hour to get your, and just think as children, we rolled around on the ground and did a lot of, well, we're a bit closer to the ground at the time. But yeah, that importance, it's a very, very, and it's like, as the instruction in the meditation, to really feel well supported, then your body can just take that, aha, oh, good, now I feel supported, you know, as opposed to, oh, I've got to sit up straight to meditate. And then this is uncomfortable, right? So just relax, relax. I can hear it at the back. We'll just keep going around. Any other contributions? Not obligatory.
We were talking a little bit about just the masks.
Yes.
And just the distraction about that.
I know, distraction of the mask. Yeah, the temperature, because you feel the breath. You don't want to focus on the breath, is it?
So I kind of found that was more of a focus,
right,
rather than any body sensation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And a little bit the same, that I was kind of then thinking, am I going to nod off? So
right, because it gets warm. Yeah.
Just slowing down.
Yeah.
Then I found gradually I opened my eyes just a little bit, did help with.
Okay, great. So yeah, open your eyes, get a bit more alert. Yeah. So then at home you can just see, oh yeah, it's quite different when I do it without a mask. Yeah. Well, we've got extra challenges these days. Anyone else? From the front, anything?
I found I was fighting with the breath and becoming conscious about it, and then trying to tame it.
Oh, trying to tame the breath. Look.
And it was counterproductive to what I was doing.
Yes. Yeah. But it's good to notice that as soon as I said, as soon as we turn our mind to something, we want to interfere. And it's like, hands off mind. It's fine. But to notice, oh yeah, actually I do that is very helpful, right? It's really, really helpful to notice. That's shining, you know, a light of awareness there and going, oh, look at that sneaky mind. It just wants to control everything. That's okay. So that's a huge learning. Yeah. So that's great. That's wonderful. Okay. All righty. So there's a whole, as I said, a whole elaborate, we could spend months on that one, but we don't have months in this course. But we'll investigate more, a little bit more when we do our meditation retreat and so forth. Okay, so I want to move along to the next one, the mindfulness of feelings. So feeling, those again who were here for the Mind and Its Potential, if you weren't, it's fine, is feeling is not in this presentation about emotions. It's about physical sensations in the body. So being aware of physical sensations in the body. Of course, we're aware of them when they're manifest, like, you know, the pain in the knee or so forth like that. And even then, in the felt, there is only the felt. Because I know my mind very quickly, just holding my knee, has a whole elaborate story about the discomfort of my knee, which I build up around this space. Whereas actually we can even do meditations where we're focusing on pain. Who would ever want to do that? But then you realize actually it's not a constant concrete block of solid pain. It's moment by moment, and it comes and goes, and then actually sometimes it just goes away completely. So there are meditations like that we can do in relation to this. So generally, which we won't be doing now, I mean, we'll do a meditation in relation to this, but not that. Just the noting experiences in this of sensations in the body, in the whole of the body, investigating them. We just observe, is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? neutral ones are harder to experience because it's neutral. It's neither something we're attracted to or something we don't want to experience. And it's useful. We need unpleasant experiences because we need to know in life, yes, you put your finger there on the hot stove, it's going to burn. Don't do that, you know. So we need to have those biofeedback loops, absolutely. But just to notice in this that the mind constantly, or the body, the mind, no, delete. The body constantly, there's these different sensations, experiences. It's not like we're not sitting here stock still in meditation. The body is very dynamic, even in meditation. And those experiences change, you know. And so things arise, they go, they arise, they go. Our attention is taken to something else. So it's really just, again, there's a whole lot of different meditations around this. But here, just simply being aware of the physical sensations in the body. So it's not judgment. It's not, oh, yes, there goes that, blah, 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 blah. It's not a whole commentary. We're just letting be what is, and that's our object of mindfulness, what is there. Okay, so we do for a couple of minutes. Okay, so settling into a conducive posture in your body now that you've tried that out, and hopefully more and more settling well grounded, that contact with the ground, with the earth below coming up to support you, providing a sense of safety, stability, support. So that you really feel like you're firmly resting on a stable base, the body balanced, safe. This can help us loosen up, relax. Bringing your awareness into that space of your mind, simply, or space of the body, sorry, bringing your awareness into the space of the body. And notice in the space of the body, get a sense of spaciousness of the body, of your mind. Invite into that space, into your awareness, whatever body sensations are arising. You know, there might be subtle sensations, say at the crown of your head, a feeling of pressure or tingling sensation, or nothing, coolness, warmth. Maybe on your whole skin you might notice either coolness or warmth, or different parts of the body, different amounts of coolness and warmth. And for this one, it's really useful to focus on the face, because it's where we tend to hold a lot of tension without perhaps even being aware of, am I clenching the jaw or furrowing the brow? If we notice anything like that, just invite a sense of softness and ease, spaciousness into your face. Just observe, just note whatever sensations. And noting the muscles of your neck, of your throat, any sensations, inviting them into this aware space of your mind. Into sensations of your shoulders. We're probably more aware of that, whether there's tightness If you feel like you're holding your shoulders up, just let them be soft, relaxed. And just let whatever sensations of the shoulders. And if other things come flooding into your awareness, thoughts, and something else preoccupies your attention, don't be upset, just acknowledge it and allow your mind to, invite your mind to return to simply the sensations of your body. Let that come to the foreground. Sensations of tightness, discomfort, maybe sensations of softness, ease, comfortable feelings. Be aware of the sensations in your arms, the weight of your arms touching the clothing, the skin, the muscles. Sensations in your hands resting in your lap, the palms, the back of your hands, fingers, all the way to the fingertips. Just allowing hands to rest, your arms to rest. Maybe even noticing if your body is settling more and more into a state of ease, softness, balance. Aware of your chest, rise and fall of the breath, maybe the beating of the heart. It's very natural sensations, whatever's arising, if it is, at the front of the chest, the back of the chest, your upper back. Moving your awareness further down into space of your belly, your abdomen, your lower back. Staying with a sense of relaxation, openness, spaciousness, awareness. Maybe noticing the weight of your pelvis or sensations in your muscles or organs. Allowing yourself to surrender to gravity, feeling comfortable in that space. Be aware of sensations in your legs, or maybe your legs have already called your attention. Maybe around the knees, the hips, the lower legs, the feet, soles of the feet, tops of the feet, toes, maybe the contact with other parts of your body or the cushion or your clothes. So having invited awareness into the whole space of our body and sensations arising there, reconnecting us, body and mind. Allow a feeling of unwinding, relaxing, settling down, abiding in that space. Spaciously aware. And allowing that awareness to come to the periphery of the contact of your skin, the sensations there, you contact the skin of the whole of your body, with the air, with other bits of the body, with clothes, with the mat, the chair, cushion, so forth. And then when you're ready, open your awareness further, gently open your eyes and feel that connectedness to the space around you. Okay, if anybody wishes to move, I've got really aware of sensations that I'd rather not have, so I want to move around. Feel free, just be relaxed about that. Yeah. So that, you know, as I said, these are just brief introductions. So I might just go through the remaining points just in even more brevity. So at least we've covered what the outline is in terms of the different investigations, the 4 close applications of mindfulness that generally when you do retreats, you spend days and days and days on each of these, even months if you've got months. But anyway, this is an introduction, okay? And keeping in mind that we're getting to more and more refined objects of the mind, more and more subtle objects of the mind. So the next one is mindfulness of the mind itself. Now we might say, I'm very well aware of the mind itself. Every time I sit down to meditate, it's, but you know, we see what if we investigate, you know, what mental factors is my mind under the influence of? Yes, we do this in meditation, but it's very helpful as we go about our daily activity as well as to see, you know, have that mindfulness. Oh, I'm in a bad mood at the moment. I don't think people should come near me. I just might withdraw myself. Or actually, I'm feeling very joyful. Isn't it wonderful? You know, whatever. Just we're aware. Just simply shining that light of awareness. We can take any opportunity in a relaxed way. Critical, non-judgmental. We're not judging. We're cultivating our awareness, which is mind training. This is what we're doing. And then when we, you know, we investigate, you know, states of, there might be anger, there might be excitement, there might be joy, there might be love, there might be, and our mind is never just fixed on any of one of those states. This is where I love watching little kids. I don't have any little children of my own, haven't ever had any little children of my own, so I can observe with a rather neutral aspect of just the change moment to moment to moment. You can be crying 1 minute and laughing the next, and wouldn't it be great to maintain that flexibility, that spontaneity and so forth? So here we can just investigate like that and maintain whatever we can. So we become aware. So one of the classic things is you become aware of, you turn the light of awareness onto the thoughts itself. And what you find is when you weren't wanting to focus on the thoughts, they were very, very in the way, so to speak, or they felt like that. But when we shine the light of awareness, they sort of go into hiding. It's like, you're not going to look at me, you know, just like nothing doing, but don't worry, they'll come. And then we just like, oh yeah, that's a thought, that's a memory, that's a plan, that's a moment of mind, just what it is. So we're not engaging with it. We're like being the scientific observer, and we're not getting caught up in the story of whatever it is, the thought, the plan, the memory, anything like that. We're just noting, oh yeah, my thoughts are like, we use different analogies. One of them is like you're sitting in the coffee shop and you're observing the people come and go. And they're all the thoughts, and they're all, some are fast, some are slow, some are colorful, some are not. You know, they're all different shapes and sizes. Some we get more attracted to, some we're oblivious to. So it's quite useful to just use these, you know, many different analogies. So it's just one. And so then when we realize that actually I did get hijacked by the thoughts, I did get caught up in it, we just look back and see, well, what was that about? What was that about? So it's interesting. It's sort of like, this one you can, I used to be sort of driving up and down the road a lot, a few hours at a time when I was caring for my mother. And just to be aware, was I even paying attention? I mean, I didn't have an accident. So some part of the mind was focusing on the road and others and so forth. But you get there and get, hey, hold on a minute, my mind was caught up somewhere else. So shining the light of mindfulness here, just attending to that and just noticing, oh yeah, my mind is, or when you're having a conversation with someone, it's really very, very exquisite to be in the presence of someone, fully in their presence. And they're like, they're fully there with you. It's quite a profound experience. Now, nodding, so she knows the experience, right? I remember that with Venerable Roger in New Zealand, when I got, you know, he came to tell me the date I would be ordained, you know, and there we were. And I thought, he's like Rinpoche's right-hand man. He's the CEO of the organization. He's got a lot of things going on, what's going on here, what's going on there. And so present in that moment, to the extent that when I went to walk away, he goes, be careful, there's an insect there, don't walk on it. I went, that's mindfulness. Okay, that's mindfulness, very useful. Okay, so that's that one, and I'll just, we'll note the fourth one. We're not, you know, elaborating here. Mindfulness of everything else, all the phenomena, everything else that exists. Dharma means phenomena, small d. Dharma means phenomena. So this is where we do get into a whole lot of analytical investigations, meditations that come along. We investigate things like impermanence, we investigate interdependence and so forth, or, you know, how things come into existence, how they go into, what's the essence of things, what's the essence of me. I mean, it's a whole plethora of things to focus on. So that's, you can see it gets more and more and more involved as we go along. And that particularly takes us into more and more analytical meditations. And then I said, as I said at the beginning, what we do here is then once we do the analysis and we have some focused concentration and we have an aha moment, we have a direct experience of something, we want to focus our attention so that experience can deepen into our mind and into our habits, because we're changing mind habits, you know, we're creating new habits. I've got that here. Maybe I can finish with that. Just coming back to a quote from Buddhaghosa, who was like in the 5th century in Sri Lanka, Theravadan monk, and coming back to the Path of Purification is the book, but just a quote from him. I shall breathe in, coming back to the breath one, making known, making plain the beginning, middle, and end of the entire in-breath. I shall breathe out, making known, making plain the beginning, middle, and end of the entire out-breath. So you can try this during the week. Thus he trains himself, making the breaths known, making them plain, shining the light of awareness. In this way, he both breathes in and breathes out with consciousness associated with knowledge. So that's what shining the light of awareness does. But notice it's all in the future tense. Or if you didn't notice, it is in the future tense, because it's setting, it's talking about, okay, set these new habits, these new ways of looking at that. So if we can keep that freshness, no matter how long we've had a meditation practice, in fact, we need to refresh it to overcome getting stuck in a rut or a habit or just in a neutrality, you know. So, okay, leave it there for today. Thank you very much, everybody. And there's some homework to go on with, practice. further reading if you wish. And I think it's good to, sort of come along, like next time, again, we can start with either from practice or either from reflecting on the previous week or whatever, if there's any questions arising. It's useful because then if you're able to, whether keeping a meditation journal or not, at least at the end of a meditation session that you do, just take time before you jump up and go off to the next thing to reflect on, okay, just like a description of that meditation to yourself. I think the journaling is really helpful because you can look back at it over time and go, oh yeah, I don't react that way anymore. Oh no, that's not an issue for me anymore. It's very, very useful. So I do encourage you to do that. Okay, so then we'll do dedication prayers, page 16, the one under the mantra bold capital print. We'll do the next two verses. Through the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So here we are, dedicating, sealing all that energy, our focused attention, our practice, our discussions, our contemplations, all of the virtue of all of that to help us progress more and more along our spiritual path. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.